Through just 4 episodes, Secret Invasion has had twists, turns, cliffhangers, humans and Skrulls dropping left and right, and I just couldn't care less. What's up, Nerdgenic Nation? Superhero nerd Aaron Waller here, and today I wanted to talk about episode 4 of the Marvel and Disney Plus series Secret Invasion titled Beloved. But before we do so, let's first talk about channel partner Boosteroid. Boosteroid is a cloud gaming platform that allows you to play many popular PC titles on practically any device. Before Boosteroid, there were many popular games that I wanted to revisit, like the Batman Arkham games, The Witcher 3, and Star Wars Battlefront 2. But without having a high-power PC or wanting to spend a ton of money rebuying these games, this almost seemed impossible. Boosteroid, however, solves that problem by providing you with unlimited cloud gaming time using its service. And the best thing is that all you need is a basic internet connection to enjoy it. For just under $10 a month, you can sign up to play popular games via the cloud, jump in and play multiplayer or a popular RPG, and never have to worry about constantly keeping up with the latest specs required for each title. And Boosteroid's library of games increases on a weekly basis, as they were recently acquired by Microsoft, so many of their popular titles like Gears 5, Grounded, and Deathloop will be available to play through the service soon. So what are you waiting for? You can try out Boosteroid using the link down in the description, and by doing so, you're helping to support this channel. And with that, let's go ahead and get back into my thoughts on Secret Invasion Episode 4. So far for me, this series just hasn't been cutting it, and the latest episode was just no different. The episode immediately took away any suspense of what happened to Gaia in episode 3 by quickly having her heal thanks to her having the foresight to use the machine to make her at least partially a super Skrull, as Gravik prepares to frame another government for an attack on the US president. The episode does have a good amount of tension, however, when it comes to Fury and his wife Vara, as she meets with Rhodey and confirms that he too is a Skrull that she spoke to on the phone in the previous episode, and they plot how they need to remove Fury from the equation, but it may not take too much force as he's now no longer the man that he once was. All this being said, however, while Fury is spying on them and aware of his wife's potential double cross. Which brings us to probably the best part about this episode, Fury and his wife. There's a great flashback to the two in 2012 after the Battle of New York, where she tells Fury of a poem that she liked, and then it's brought up again as they encounter each other in the present. And I actually really enjoyed the story of Vara and how she chose and became the person she's impersonating, and how emotional that kind of was. And then the tension builds even further as the couple attempt to kill one another, but also seemingly having some unspoken agreement not to. Whether you want to call that true love, realistic couple problems, or whatever else, I guess is really up for debate. But of course the series has to more or less ruin that by having Fury's interaction with the Skrull version of Rhodey, as Fury has a surprise meeting with him in a hotel. And I have to say, if it wasn't obvious that Rhodey was a Skrull before, it becomes even more apparent in this episode as he's nowhere near the straight-laced uptight soldier that we've come to know. And finally, there comes the big action moment of the episode that is the attack on the US president, which to me felt like the creators thought that they were doing some dramatic action set piece, but it just looked and felt very Hollywood. All the pieces of this battle are laid out in a way that everything is in a straight line, despite it being a very chaotic moment. And you can clearly see where this battle is taking place and who's on what side. But it's also very confusing in that everyone is wearing tactical gear, so simultaneously I had no idea who was where at any given moment. They also really play up the Talos transformation and what happens with him as Fury saves the president and loses his friend. Honestly, it was just a really bad death that I felt absolutely nothing for, same thing as I did with Gaia and even Maria Hill in episode 1. To me, it just feels like none of this really matters and they're just playing it for dramatic angles that aren't really even paying off. And I know that this series is leading to a Gravik v Fury fight as we've seen more or less in the trailers, but it's also likely to become a Gaia fight in which the two Super Skrulls face off against one another after she learns what happened to her father. But I don't know, I just don't really feel like anything in this series is that great despite a lot of people liking it. I think that at the very least it could have been pushed to be possibly memorable. I think that it has really good bones, it has a somewhat interesting story that had they actually utilized it correctly or at least referenced the comic in which it's based, I think that they would have made it at least a little bit better. And they also have a legacy character in Nick Fury being squandered once again when they could finally be celebrated and highlighted in their own show after years of being in the MCU. And it also has a villain that still may end up being interesting depending on how things progress, but knowing Marvel, they'll very much likely end up killing him by the final episode. I just sort of feel done with this show, and we still have 2 episodes to go. And honestly, they'll have to pull off a miracle in my opinion to even have this series be decent, but so far it continues to slide further and further down my list of MCU projects. But anyway, those are my thoughts on episode 4 of Secret Invasion, and now I want to hear from you in the Nerdgenic community. Do you feel like it was action-packed and intense as I think the creators thought that it was? Or do you agree with me and that this series just isn't quite delivering? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. And while you're down there, be sure to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell notification so you don't miss out on any future videos, as well as my thoughts on the next episode of Secret Invasion. But also be sure to give us a follow across all social media platforms at Nerdgenic. That way you don't miss out on any special news, articles, or announcements at nerdgenic.com. But in the meantime, if you want even more video content from us, check out my thoughts on the previous episode of Secret Invasion right over here. Or for more Marvel content, check out this playlist right over here. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. We really do appreciate it, and we hope to see you in the next video.